They call me. I'm a sucker for love, I'm a sucker for love. And in this world full of suckers, you fit mine like a glove. The fit is perfect, but nobody above, yeah. The clock's ticking as the time flies by. We in two different worlds, but living the same life. Two different dreams, you make me feel so alive. Need you by my side, need you by my side. Just a power couple daily blowing off steam. Making love to you so damn seamlessly. We be doing it so damn frequently. Easy cause we on the same damn frequency. Take it to the Sunset Boulevard. Tell mama says she wanna tag along. She don't care if it's right or if it's wrong. Yeah, we'd always get along. Even through the downs, gotta stay strong. Now we singing the same song. All I ever get is think about you. I think about you daily. So baby girl, don't play me. All I ever get is think about you. They call me Dan, the Lakers DTLF. And I got a master plan for the Lakers back to the promised land. Spread the vision through my people, cause we fans are equal. When we reach 20K subs, yeah, we gon' drop a sequel. Another Laker anthem track, watch me run it back. Got the keys to the city where my Laker jet.
What up, Laker fam? It's your boy DTLF back with another one, guys. It's a late night episode because we getting the exciting things are starting to come, y'all. We're starting to get clarity. You guys, I told you guys Rob Pelinka has been active. All right, now you guys might believe me now, but Rob Pelinka himself just came out. I want to give you guys the first update as soon as I came on here live because I think this is the most important piece of information before we get into the draft and everything else. Dan Wokey. All right, shout out to Dan Wokey, who just started working for The Athletic covering the Lakers. All right, is reporting that Rob Pelinka says the center position will clearly be the focus for the Lakers heading into free agency. Rob Pelinka goes on to say, Pelinka says the Lakers have been super active, which I reported on earlier today, in calls as they turn over every stone in the hunt for a center. All right, focus now turns from the draft to free agency, and we won't rest. This is his quote. This is Rob Pelinka's quote. Sounds very presidential, y'all, okay? So I hope he delivers. But he says, and we won't rest until we get it right, all right? Very, very presidential. Man, Robbie P making promises he can hopefully keep, because if he doesn't, it's his job, right? I'm telling y'all, man, we're going to talk about the draft in a little bit. I'm going to give you guys my grade and everything on my thoughts, the latest updates on who the Lakers have acquired via undrafted free agents. We got a good one, by the way. But Rob Pelinka is now shifting his attention, which means, and like I told you guys, my source told me earlier today, the Lakers were on the phones day and night. And you can see it. You can see it, man. He looks extremely tired. There was a picture somebody sent me. Shout out to Daniel. Send me a picture of Rob Pelinka. He was exhausted. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Dude looking like a zombie, okay? And that's good. That's what we want to see as a Laker fan base. We want to see Rob Pelinka, putting in the work. Okay, he looked like he hadn't gotten sleep in 3 days, if I'm being honest, right? And that's what we want to see. So he said that they were going to leave no stone unturned. They're not going to rest until it's done. And I know this is pressure coming from LeBron's camp and also pressure coming from Luka's camp for a fact, right? But there you have it. There's the picture I wanted to show you guys. Look at this man. Does this look like a man that hasn't been doing his job? For all the casuals out there that keep saying, oh, Rob Pelinka's not doing his job. Oh, Rob Pelinka's sleeping. No, he hasn't been sleeping, okay? This man looked like something straight out of a zombies movie. And I'm glad because he said it. They won't rest, quite literally, as you can see, until we acquire said big man. Now, based on the reports and based on my sources, I could tell you for a fact that the Lakers are in heavy pursuit for a big. Walker Kessler is a name that has surfaced, right? They also mentioned free agency. So I think, and I've been on the record as to saying this, I don't believe we're just going to try to acquire one big man. I think we're going to try to acquire multiple big men, okay? Maybe one via trade and one via free agency, or maybe two via free agency. That seems to be the way the league is going now, right? That seems to be the way. And as a result, I'm a very happy man because for years I've been telling you guys that the Lakers needed to have multiple big men, and it seems like they're finally starting to get on that wave. Could this have something to do with Mark Walter owning the team and going in that direction? I don't know, but I do like it, man. I do like it a lot. My guy said, I like Thiero, but is the Lakers allergic to bigs or something? No, I think the Lakers wanted to get NBA ready now bigs, and they probably didn't feel like there was any left on the board. Okay, and so they went with the best player available. Now, we could always use big men. I'm sorry, we could always use bigs, big wings, 6'8". All right, Thiero, and let's talk about him now. I'm gonna give you guys my analysis of Thiero. This guy, all right, played for the University of Arkansas. Okay, 6'8", 200-pound wing. He was acquired today via trade. Now, the Lakers made multiple moves to acquire this guy's services, okay? They went from 55 to 45 and from 45 to 36. So they jumped quite a couple of spots. Usually don't see that from the Lakers. It's almost like they felt a sense of urgency. They must have had a great workout that we'll later on hear about or something. But Thiero, okay, this dude, he's not necessarily a shooter. He only shot 30% from beyond the arc in college, in his collegiate career. He did finish at the peak of his career, averaging 15 points. He led his team in scoring and rebounds. This dude is a specimen. If you haven't seen his highlights, let me see if I can pull him up here for you. He is different, y'all. The way this kid plays, he reminds me of a couple players, and this is just going off a highlight, so this is nothing to really take with a grain. It really is something to take with a grain of salt. But this guy Thiero, I don't know about you guys. Let's see if I pull it up here. There it is. This guy reminds me of like a Pascal Siakam type wing. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. My bad. Apologies here. I got a lot of windows open. There you go. This guy reminds me kind of like Pascal. If he, or so they said OG Anunoby, he reminds me a little bit of Pascal. But look at his explosion here. Getting the steal. Look at this windmill in transition is crazy, y'all. Crazy. There he is. Look, on a defensive end. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes, once in a while, guys, a player comes through that has the potential to be a generational talent. Let me make the screen bigger. And maybe this is what this is. Now, he's very raw offensively from what I can see. He doesn't really put the ball on the floor and create for himself, but he is a straight line driver. He is somebody who can cut and finish, extremely explosive. Some have called him the most athletic in the draft. That's crazy. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Thiero, man. Ooh, chase down block a la LeBron James. That's tough, guys. But again, this kid has tremendous potential. I see some Pascal in his game. Now, obviously, Pascal's a way better shot creator, but the lengthiness and the way he knows how to get to his spots to finish over the top of the defense, I can see a little bit of Pascal. Now, Pascal is a very good shooter as well. So this guy has a long ways to go. But my God, the way he finishes over the defense. I'm gonna tell you right now, the Lakers feel like they won the margins with this pickup right here. Okay, Adou Thiero. And who knows? Only time will tell. But if he gets minutes, I'm all for it because we need bodies. We need able bodies. And I told you guys after the playoffs, I felt like the NBA was trending towards physicality again. And I like this right here. My girl said something similar to me. He's my Thiero the hero or something like that. Yeah, we're going to play with that as long as he puts in the work. But I'll tell you, bro, this guy right here, they call him OG 2.0, OG, whatever they want to call it. He's a bruiser. He's got potential, all right? At the end of the day, we still have to go out there and capitalize and get the big men that we need. And again, Rob Pelinka saying that is the clear focus of the Lakers heading into free agency, which is like 4 days away. Right now, Pelinka, again, they've been super active, like I reported earlier in the day, in calls. All right. They're turning over every stone, which means there must be multiple deals on the table as we speak that they're mulling over, either that they offered or that have been offered and counter offered and so on and such. Right. But again, this kid at 36, he has the potential to be a steal. They hadn't slated anywhere between 25 to 40. Now he does have to work on his shooting. Right, he shot 38.9% from the field. Right, most of that was at the rim, and then 30% from beyond the arc. So that's his weakness for sure. But with his athletic profile and defensive upside, it makes him a perfect fit for the Lakers. We always could use versatile wings who can play defense and switch multiple positions. Right, and his ability to guard multiple positions and contribute in transition aligns with the team's fast-paced style under JJ Redick. So it looks like we want to push the pace. We want to get younger. Rob mentioned they wanted to get younger, more athletic from the wing position. Okay. So he might get minutes. Also, this is the type of player that fits well alongside a Luka Doncic, just like Derek Jones Jr., just like him, right? So I really like the pick, man. And if I had to get this pick, a grade just based off of face value, because obviously we needed a big man, but we couldn't find one. I'm gonna give this pick a B plus, only because seems explosive, seems extremely good defensively, and but it wasn't what we necessarily needed immediately. However, this has the option to be a better pick if he gets PT. We saw JJ Redick didn't give his guy Dalton PT, but that's due to lack of defense. Hopefully, Dalton improves there. And the grade can raise as well if the Lakers address the other needs that we have this free agency. Okay, we need to address those big man positions. That is the most important thing right now at this time. Take a couple of comments before I move on and give you guys the other updates because we signed a couple of other guys that are pretty interesting. But yeah, I'll give it a B plus for now. I don't want to overreact to it, but I like the pick. Love this draft. Love sale to Mark Walter. I'm trusting the process. Well, to be fair, the sale isn't officially finalized. It is scheduled to be finalized around mid to late December, is what the rumors say. But I'm sure he already has his input, right? It's like if I sell my car to somebody, but I'm holding it till they complete the payment, they're going to want me to take care of that car and keep it in tip-top shape. So I'm sure Mark Walter already has his input on the Lakers organization and what he wants out of them. And I'm sure maybe he's pulling the strings behind the scenes. Who knows? But yeah, I like it too, man. It is extremely exciting, and I've been good, Paco. Good to see you, bro. Hey, happy 4th to everybody that as we approach. But we want fireworks even before the 4th of July. But again, like the pick, I'll give it a B plus. Now let's move on to talk about maybe some of these other pieces that we acquired that may not make it the undrafted. Okay, let's start with Eric Dixon. All right, the power forward, the star player out of the University of Villanova. This guy is now on a 2-way contract for the Lakers, right? 6'8", 265-pound forward. All right, he led the NCAA in scoring during this season at 23.3 points per game. How does he not get drafted? I don't know. He also averaged 5 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and he shot 45% from the field, which is pretty good, and a very impressive 40% from beyond the arc, all right, on 7.2 attempts per game. Now, despite his offensive prowess, he went undrafted, I guess, due to his age. So this can be another one of those situations where we make off like bandits due to some player's age. We needed these type of players anyways. 2-way contract. Lakers are famous for making those contracts very lucrative and giving people incentives to sign those with us. And Eric Dixon, I think, is going to be a solid piece. Let's see how he looks in Summer League, right? Let's see how Eric Dixon looks in Summer League. But he's not the most athletic, right? And he also lacks lateral quickness, but he is a sniper. He's a bully as well. Some people comparing him with Julius Randle. I wouldn't go that far because Julius Randle in Kentucky was an absolute monster. He was different. He was like Zebo mixed with Lamar Odom. But again, we need more front court depth. So this move definitely gives us an option there, especially after trading AD, man. We need as many big bodies as you can possibly put around Luka and LeBron. All right, as many as you can possibly put around Luka and LeBron. So we also signed a couple of other 10-day contracts, but nothing major. Those are basically the main 2 pieces. I will give Eric Dixon, again, he's on a 2-way contract, so I'm going to give him just a B minus because, again, we need more defenders than anything. Rim protectors, he's not that. He's a bucket getter. So we went away from need, and that's what prevents me from giving him a higher grade. But I do like the prospect for sure. The Lakers are here doing the Lord's work, picking up the best prospects available. And I do like that approach. You win 9 times out of 10 when you get the best player available. That's why I wasn't mad at the Thiero pick, even though clearly we needed a center, right? Also, Texas forward Arthur, let's see if I say this right, Kaluma is signing an exhibit 10-day deal with the Lakers, all right? The Athletic reports. So, again, the Lakers just filling out the Summer League team, guys. I cannot wait for the Summer League. I cannot. All right, our first official game is in the California Classic. That will be July 5th, 2025. Very exciting. I think that game tips off. I'm sorry, that's not our game. That is the Memphis versus Philly game. I was looking at the wrong schedule. But I believe our first game, let me see here if I can find it. It's either July 5th or July 6th. I don't think ESPN is showing it right now. But I had seen somewhere it was July 5th. I will be covering the California Classic. I got you guys covered with the California Classic. So stay tuned. I'll give you guys updates as we approach here the scheduling. But right now, as Rob Pelinka has stated, the Lakers now shift their attention to free agency and trades. All right. I love what I heard from Dan Welke about Rob Pelinka. All right. And again, for those of you that just tuning in, this man looks like he's exhausted. All right. We might have to come up with a new nickname for Rob. We might have to start calling him Rob Zombie. Okay, because look at this man. This man looks like he hasn't slept in a week. All right. He must be stressed out. He's got a lot of pressure on him. And I'll tell you why he has a lot of pressure on him. He's got a lot of pressure on him. For one, he's got a lot of pressure on him because he needs to sign that extension. Either LeBron's going to opt in or he's going to opt out and sign an extension with the Lakers. And, of course, you got Luka Doncic who's waiting. Otherwise, the extension would have been done by now, I believe. So, okay, July 10th, we play Dallas, but I think we have a game on July 5th or 4th. It's the California Classic, yeah. But it's exciting, man. It's an exciting time. The Lakers doing their due diligence. Again, we drafted somebody who I think is going to be a fan favorite. If he plays as hard as they say, and he has that talent right there, man, that's going to be great. Again, 6'8", 200 pounds, guys. I can't wait to see him. And then can you picture him catching loss from Austin and Luka potentially in the near future? Now, this does raise a little bit of a question. What now happens to Rui Hachimura, Vando? What happens to those guys? And DFS. We have 3 wings there. We just added a 4th. It makes me feel like we're either going to trade one of those guys or 2. Or maybe DFS is going to walk in free agency. They know something we don't. Because the position we grab is kind of oversaturated at this point with the current roster build. Now, it doesn't mean that we'll look the same. It does not mean we'll look the same, at the end of free agency. But as of right now, this will be our 4th wing. And that's if you don't want to count LeBron as a wing. You want to put him as a forward? Cool. Power forward? Cool. But, man. Let's see. My guy says Dixon is like a combo of Julius Randle and Naz Reid. Solid pickup. I want to see what he can do before I crown him all of that, right? I want to see what he can do because I don't want to put pressure on these players. And then we've had a lot of two-way G League players that have looked good. Who remembers Derek Character? Who remembers him? Who remembers who else? There's been a couple of players, right? And they never pan out. So I like this guy a lot potentially, but I want to see what he does in summer league, and then if that leads him to impressing in training camp and then preseason, and then maybe he can secure an actual real roster. But you can't really count too much out of a two-way G League player. Just to temper expectations a little bit, right? Just a little bit. On the other hand, it sounds like based on everything Rob Pelinka has said about Adou Thiero, it sounds like they want to pencil him in on into the rotation if he is as good as they think he is. Matter of fact, Rob Pelinka called this man a beast. I never heard him say that about any player recently, at least that I can remember, right? Again, Thiero's weakness is going to be that his offensive game is extremely raw and his three-point shooting. But with the resources that they're planning, all the hires they're planning on doing once Mark Walter takes the helm, I think it's going to speed up the development process on a lot of young players. Hiring the right coaches, the right nutritionists, the right everything, right? Player development, everything. Technology, right? Let's see here. Dre says, Dan, if you were the Lakers GM, what realistic player would you trade Reeves for? See, the word realistic is tough. Remove realistic, and I'll tell you exactly what players I would trade. Because I'm going to be unrealistic if I'm the Lakers GM. I'm going to set a high standard, and I'm going to ask for a high asking price. So anybody who wants Austin Reeves off of me has to be willing to give me a couple of things. Either a starting caliber center and a starting caliber 2 guard to replace him, who's a 3-and-D, which is hard to find, or just an all-star, and then I can package Austin with other things. We do have other things. We have Dalton. We have 2 first-round picks. So if it's a big package, I'm willing to get like a Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, I would offer Austin Reeves. I would offer, whether they want Rui or Vando, whatever they want. I would offer draft picks. I'll make it happen right now. I'll give a grandfather offer for Jaylen Brown because I feel like Jaylen Brown in the backcourt with Luka would be deadly. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm gonna say this. I believe the Lakers will be, if they are going to indeed trade Austin Reeves, they're going to be targeting a big man. Guys like Walker Kessler. If you can do Walker Kessler and Jordan Clarkson or Colin Sexton or something like that, no picks involved at that point. If I'm giving up my guy Austin, I can't send out picks, and I'm willing to listen. But in reality, bro, the reality is that we're gonna need a starting two guard. That's gonna leave a gaping hole. Gaping hole. There's another name right there. Austin Reeves for Derek White. Ugh. I would hate to make that trade, but it would benefit us instantly. But I would hate to make that trade because I do believe Austin Reeves has a higher ceiling, while Derek White is a better system player, which he would fit here, I think, a little bit better. And he's a better defender, of course. But, man, I would hate to make that trade for real. There's some other upgrades we can look at, man. I like Marcus Smart. He's with the Washington Wizards right now. Not for Austin, but definitely would throw in Gabe Vincent, whatever moving pieces are required to make that trade right there, right? So it's a good question, but I think the Lakers have to get creative, man. We might have to think outside the box. That's all I'm going to say. We might have to think outside the box. Let's see. Every YouTuber likes our pick, Dan. I don't, but I hope I'm wrong. What do you think about him? I think he's got tremendous potential, man. If you paid attention to the finals, there's a lot of players that aren't really shot creators, guys like Naismith, right? And then you have the ceiling type of guys who they compare him to, guys like OG Anunoby, who are shot creators, who can put the ball in the hole off the dribble. He's extremely raw. He's only 21 years of age. He's not as old as some of these other players that were in the draft that could have been drafted by Lakers, but I do think he has a tremendous skill set, which is his defensive prowess and his athleticism. Again, people are saying he is the best athlete in the draft. John Calipari said this guy was, whoever passed on him was going to regret it because he compared him. I don't know why he compared him to Emmanuel quickly, but I think he means as far as an under-the-radar player that gets drafted and then ends up flourishing. But we might be looking at first-level raw talent here. It might take him more than a year to develop. That's the only bad news. But, again, Mark Walter's going to come in like a storm, and he's going to implement the right things that are required for a young piece, right, to develop, hopefully. Seems like we drafted Dalton's replacement. I expect the trade to happen soon. Well, they play different positions. Dalton Connect is more of a two-guard. Now, the thing Dalton has to work on this offseason is his ball handling and his defense. But let's start with his defense first. He needs to be on the floor. In order to be on the floor, you got to be able to play defense. He's got a lot of athleticism. Has to work on his lateral quickness, his hand-eye coordination, a lot of things. He's got to put on maybe a little bit more muscle. But Dalton has defensive potential. I don't know if he'll ever realize it, but he does. Now, again, to me, this kid right here looks more of a replacement for DFS or Rui or somebody who might be included in the package. Maybe Vando. Maybe he's the Vando replacement. Maybe they've had enough with the Vando injuries and inconsistencies, and they want to flip him for a younger version, more athletic. Maybe, right? So we'll see. Dan, why does Rob signing undersized center and those 7-footers available leaning more towards free agency? I think Rob is actually going to pull off a trade. I've been telling you guys all day. I don't know if you guys have believed me or not because I do have a source, but I've been telling you guys all day that Rob Pelinka has been very active, fielding phone calls. Dan Wilkie just confirmed tonight. All right. That is on point. He looked exhausted. Rob Zombie looking exhausted. I feel like we're about to accomplish a trade because he literally said we weren't going to rest until we did that. So I believe Rob. Rob usually, let me tell you something. So far, one thing I realized about him, it might take him time to make a deal. But when he does make a deal, when he does say he's going to do it, he does it. Remember, he said he was looking to acquire a star. That's why we hadn't made a move. And who did he get? Luka Doncic. Right? So he says they want a center. He'll make it happen. He'll make it happen. It might take halfway through free agency. We might not get a center until like July 7th. So I implore everybody to be patient. But I hope he does it sooner rather than later because I feel like the options will come off the board rather quickly. And it'll make it a lot harder. Big men are scarce in the league. Look what the Suns did. They drafted a couple of them. They traded for one. And they already had one in Nick Richards. They got like 4 over there right now. Portland drafted one. They already had like 2 over there right now. A lot of teams they're moving towards adding big men. Again, physicality, the playoffs, I think, has inspired that, which is something I'm a big fan of. Was for the longest, everybody was drafting tweeners, going small or whatnot. But again, Pelinka mentioned they wanted to get younger and more athletic on the wings. We did that, right? We did that for sure. So I am glad that Pelinka is super active. He needs to be super active to finish everything that he started, right? But we get a high flyer defensive beast, and hopefully that translates to more than that. We need Thiero to become more of a 3-and-D guy. I think Thiero has the potential to have the ceiling of like a Jalen McDaniels from the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? People are calling him the next Amen Thompson. Amen is a star in this league. Okay, that is high praise. He's going to have to prove it first. I don't want to put no comparisons on him, but I'm just saying from what I saw, from the tape I studied, from what I'm hearing back from the coaches and everything, this dude it has potential to be 3-and-D, right? Austin Reeves for Kobe White. Ooh, would you guys do that? That one intrigues me. But we need a big, though. But that one intrigues me. Kobe White for Austin Reeves, would you guys do that? That's a good one, bro. I'd have to come back on that. I'd have to come back to that one because I'm actually not sure if I would do that. I think Austin Reeves still has another octave that he can rise to, bro. I really do. Right? Let's see what Kobe White did this year, man. Let's pull up his stats really quick. All right. So Kobe White averaged 20 points, about the same as Austin. He shot 45% from the field and 37% from beyond the arc. Right? That's not bad. However, Austin's still better playmaker than him because Kobe White only averaged 4.5 assists. And mind you, Austin Reeves is doing this behind LeBron and Luka. Kobe White, Nikola Jokic, right? Maybe Zach LaVine. So they're kind of similar, but I don't know if I want to do a lateral move. I will. If I'm going to trade Austin, I agree with Notorious. I'd rather bring back a big man and a guard. Blake, how do we get the 36th pick? We got it via trade. So basically, we started at the night at 55. Actually, before the night even started tonight, I woke up this morning to the news that the Lakers had traded from 55 down to 45 with cash considerations, and then we traded down to the 35 and added more cash. So it costed like $2 million every time the Lakers made a deal. Right. But again, we got a new owner with deep pockets. I'm sure he's picking up the tab for Genie right now. Right. Let's see. D Prince says, I think that Rob's mindset is not to get centers in rookies as they don't have time to develop, which is why he will look to free agency for centers. Yeah, for sure. And we knew that. We knew that. I was hoping for a center just as a backup option. We didn't even have a good backup last year. Right, because we started Jackson Hayes, and who was backing him up after we traded AD? Nobody. We didn't even bring Debo to the playoffs, right? So we were extremely frail there, which is probably why my guys stuck with the 5-man rotation. Still not an excuse in the playoffs to do that. But we are hard capped at the second apron. Yes, we cannot go over that second apron right now. But I don't think the Lakers wanted to go over that second apron anyways, so we should be okay. The cap is a very fluid and tough thing to figure out, but we're still figuring it out. Now, there can be trades, and that can get us under a certain apron. We'll figure that out as we go. Jacob said, I know him and Luka would be well together. Who are we talking about? Him and who? Who's him? Would you take Jarrett Allen from the Cavs? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Jarrett Allen is exactly what the doctors ordered. Rim protecting roll man, lob threat. Now, you can't floor space like the Lakers probably want, but still, I will take a rim protecting, lob threat. Yeah, the Alex Len experience was horrible, guys, and that should not repeat itself anymore. Blake, I personally, I like the pick. I can't say love it yet because we have to address the big man position. I think I would have loved the pick if it was a big man, which is what we need, but I understand that you have to draft best available sometimes, and this might be one of those cases. Okay, again, this guy is extremely explosive, jumps out of the gym, has a great motor, can do a lot for a roster. Now, will he do that right away? Right. Will he do that right away? And also, can he get his jump shot right? I think his biggest weakness is his jump shot. As we see with Vando, right? If you don't have a jump shot, you don't get PT. So I think the first thing he needs to address is that jumper. And again, hiring the right coaches to do that would go a long way. A long way. But again, I just wanted to recap this draft, give you guys my final grades for tonight, guys. I gave it a B plus, I think, right? I think I gave him a B plus for our 36 overall pick in this year's draft. And then I gave it a B minus for our free agent signing, which was I forgot his name already. Dixon. Okay. Eric Dixon, the power forward out of Villanova. Two-way contract. Okay. 6'8", 265-pounder. He's just not exactly what the Lakers need, but if he's a leading collegiate scorer this year. So it's definitely worth testing him out. And he's on a two-way contract, which means we don't have any sort of sense of urgency to try to sign him to anything else unless he goes crazy in summer league, training camp, and eventually preseason. I'm glad Rob didn't take Rocco. He would have been a 2 to 3 year experiment. Man, we might not be glad in 2 to 3 years, notorious, because those 2 to 3 years are going to fly by really quick, man. Let's see. Delon Hart says, been watching the highlights. He does look like a Julius Randle type, but he can be a bully, a Zion or Julius or Draymond. Again, these comparisons are going to fly off the walls because we look at the body type and the skill set, and it's easy to make those comparisons. But we don't know what type of player he will be. Let's just give it time. Right now, he's only on a two-way contract, and he's got to prove himself, which makes players a lot hungrier, right? So that's good. That is good. You got to keep these players hungry and willing to battle for a roster spot. But again, right now, the Lakers, we pivot into finding a big man, a season one. My vote and my guess is still with Walker Kessler. Okay. I still feel like we have what it takes to get him. I've been saying this for 2 years. I'll say it again. Yes. Excuse me. Danny Ainge is very stubborn, but I think we can break him. I think eventually he will give in, because he's not going to want to pay all these contract extensions for a losing team. It's hard to convince ownership when you're losing to pay the luxury taxes. This new CBA makes teams offload some of the dead weight, and not necessarily dead weight, but offload some of the players that they might have to pay. I mean, look what the Celtics did. Drew Holiday, champion, veteran leader, former All-Star, traded. Kristaps Porzingis helped them. They both helped when they got there. They elevated the Celtics to that championship. Traded. Now we're talking Derek White and Jaylen Brown to get under all the aprons and to save money. Ownerships, groups definitely don't want to spend money if they're not immediately competing for titles. So, yeah, I can definitely see scenarios where Walker Kessler gets dealt to the Lakers. It might take an extra pick or maybe lifting a protection off of a pick, including Dalton, whatever the case. But get it done, because I do feel like Walker Kessler has the potential to be a generational rim protector. He might even win a couple of Defensive Players of the Year awards, just like Rudy Gobert, even though I don't think he deserved all of those. But I really like Walker. He's a great rebounder. I think he would elevate us to championship contender. Now, I'm not saying he's the only piece that we need, but I think he's the main piece that we need this offseason to plug in, to play alongside Luka, LeBron, and potentially Austin Reeves, assuming he's still here. Right? So that is how I feel, man. And let's see what happens. Let's see. The Blazers have 100 centers. Got to grab one of them. Let me ask you this, MT. Which one would you want? Some people say DeAndre Ayton. Some people say no because he doesn't have the work ethic. Some say Robert Williams. Some people say no because he's injury prone. It's kind of hard, right? It's kind of hard. You have to make the right decision. You have one swing at this to make a trade because you have limited assets. Once you make that trade, the assets are gone and you're stuck with whatever team you have outside of maybe buyouts in certain situations and stuff like that. So got to make sure we get it right this one time, right? But anyways, guys, it's been an extremely long night. That is going to wrap it up for me tonight. I'm pleased with the draft. I would have been a lot more pleased had we drafted a center. That's ready now. Let's see. Now we focus and shift our direction towards free agency. So keep it locked right here. This video was brought to you by Prize Picks and Underdog. Make sure you guys tap in. Promo code on the screen. There's going to be a lot of options. There's going to be a lot of rumors. We could wake up to a trade. We can go to sleep to one. Maybe as soon as I get off this video, we'll get breaking news and I'll be right back. But again, the way Rob looked tonight, the way he sounded, what he said, very promising. Okay. Very promising. And I guess my source was right when he said he's been active all day. All right. So stay tuned, guys. I got you guys covered. from beginning to end. Free agency around the corner. We got summer league. We got trades. Everything. All right. So keep it locked right here for all things Lakers and so much more. I do appreciate you guys, man. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. All right. Peace.